In 2022, NASA reported that it had discovered a huge asteroid that was slowly approaching Earth. It's not scheduled to reach our planet for about 10 million years, but many people were still frightened by the news. Such asteroids are usually called Doomsday asteroids. While they don't pose a real threat to Earth at this point in history, scientists have calculated that such an asteroid strike could cause major climate change. So what would happen if a giant asteroid did collide with our planet? Will humanity be able to survive after that? Or will we end up like the dinosaurs? Let's find out in today's video. The first thing you should know is that so far, all of the doomsday predictions have been proven wrong. For example, according to calculations made by some astronomers, the world would end in 2012. This was due to the fact that the Mayan calendar ended in December of that year. But then December arrived and life continued on as normal. In 2015, another prediction appeared. This time it was made by a well-known scientist, the Nobel Prize winner, Walter Alvarez. He claimed that the world would end in just 7 million years. His argument was that our sun would expand and engulf the Earth long before then. However, it seems that we woe and die from being burned alive by our star, either since the predictions of scientists who claimed that the world would end in 2030 also turned out to be false. All of these predictions only prove that it's very difficult to predict the future and no one can foresee what will happen. However, there is one thing that all experts agree on. A large asteroid impact could really destroy our planet. But the question remains, are we really in danger? Is there such a huge space rock hurtling through space towards us right now? It's fact there is. Its name is 99,942 Apophis, and it's about 370 meters in diameter. According to NASA, its path may someday cross ours. But for now, the asteroid won't come closer than 31 million kilometers to Earth. That's nearly twice the distance between our planet and the Sun, so you can relax. A World War III will happen because of the asteroid. However, there's another space rock named 29,075 Da that could pose a serious threat to our planet. This is a huge asteroid that's more than 1 kilometer in diameter. Its orbit is farther away from the Sun than Jupiter's orbit. However, this celestial body has a high excess of mass, which means that it's not quite clear exactly how it moves in space. There's also another asteroid named Florence that's about 4.4 kilometers wide. Luckily, it orbits the Sun every 2 years and comes no closer than 7 million kilometers to Earth. Now, let's talk about a hypothetical situation. What would happen if a large asteroid suddenly started moving towards our planet? To answer this question, let's use the example of the Chixulub asteroid. It was about 10 kilometers wide and it's believed to be the same age as the dinosaurs. That's about 66 million years old. Scientists believe that this celestial body once flew too close to our Sun and then its orbit shifted. As a result, the asteroid began to move towards Earth. Its speed was about 17 kilometers per second, which is equivalent to 61,200,000 kilometers per hour. When the celestial body collided with our planet, it caused catastrophic consequences. At first, the impact triggered earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions. Then a thick layer of dust rose into the atmosphere and completely enveloped our planet. The Sun couldn't get through the dust, which meant that Earth fell into darkness. Plants died without sunlight, and large animals soon died of starvation. Some scientists even believe that the impact of Chixulub caused a nuclear winter. The thing is that when the asteroid struck the Earth, it didn't just release a huge amount of energy, but also threw a lot of radioactive isotopes into the atmosphere. They spread around the globe and reached even the most remote corners of the planet. In short, death came everywhere. But small mammals that had the good fortune to hide in underground shelters survived the apocalypse. Will we be able to avoid a similar fate if an asteroid appears in the sky? According to scientists, we have several options here. The first and most obvious option is to destroy the asteroid. Sounds easy, but in reality it's almost impossible to do. The thing is that space agencies haven't yet invented a way to quickly move their equipment over long distances in space. Even the fastest spacecraft that humans have ever created could hardly reach an asteroid in a matter of months. Yes, currently, there are several projects aimed at destroying dangerous celestial bodies. The first project, called AIDA, will be launched by the European Space Agency. The launch is scheduled for October 26, 2022. The goal of the mission is to determine whether it's possible to redirect an asteroid in space. If the experiment is successful, humanity will have a way to deal with dangerous space rocks. However, this will only be a theoretical possibility. In reality, we will be able to destroy an asteroid hurtling toward Earth until we invent warp drives or something else equally fast. So what else can we do to stop the impending apocalypse? One option would be to hide inside the Earth. All we need to do is build deep bunkers under the ground where we could hide along with our livestock and food supplies. But this plan also has its drawbacks. The thing is that a powerful impact could trigger earthquakes that could destroy any buildings on the surface. You'd hardly find shelter underground after that. Another option is to fly away from Earth and hide on another planet or on the moon, but unfortunately there's no place to go. The nearest potentially habitable planet, Proxima Centauri b, is about 4.2 light-years away from us. It would take more than one generation to get there, even at the speed of modern spaceships. And forget about taking all of humanity to another planet. Most likely, the chosen few will be offered a different option, although this option sounds simply insane. According to some reports, it's already been offered by some enthusiasts. They were talking about building a huge generation ship that would have enough resources for people to survive for many years. The ship would be equipped with everything needed for life: air, water, and food. It'd also have a powerful engine that would allow it to travel through space at incredible speeds. We're talking about a real interstellar arc. At the same time, such a ship wouldn't be able to accommodate everyone. Moreover, it'd be incredibly expensive to build. Just imagine how much fuel would be needed to accelerate the enormous structure with all of its equipment. And people to a speed of at least 100,000 kilometers per hour. Of course, the cost of such an enterprise would simply be astronomical. Building just one ship wouldn't help because it'd take dozens of generations to colonize even one planet. So our best chance to survive would be to turn to aliens for help. It sounds crazy, but it's much better than sitting and waiting for death. If highly developed extraterrestrial civilizations exist, they must have some super powerful weapons. For example, they could create a special device that would push the asteroid away from Earth. Or they could simply use a more advanced version of nuclear weapons against it. However, it's not worth waiting for help from beyond the stars, especially since no one can say with confidence that aliens really exist. There's only one conclusion to draw from all of this. Humanity isn't ready for a large asteroid impact. We don't have a single technology that would allow us to stop a celestial body hurtling toward Earth. At the same time, it's unlikely that people will want to hide in bunkers or flee to other planets, so most likely the impact of a large asteroid would really lead to the end of our civilization, and we'll be left with nothing but regrets and ashes. That SY scientists try to calculate the likelihood that a large asteroid will hit our planet in the near future. Their forecasts are disappointing. Over the next 1 million years, there's a 1 in 100,000 chance of a devastating impact. And within the next 100 million years, the probability increases to 1 in 10. In other words, sooner or later, we'll face the apocalypse. I hope I haven't upset you too much. Now tell me in the comments, what do you think we should do to prepare for the impact of a large asteroid? Maybe I missed some important details in the video. Leave your thoughts below. If you liked the video, give it a like and see you soon.